The night fell slowly over the hills of Israel, wrapping the land in a deep and solemn silence. The stars appeared one by one, as if heaven itself were watching what was about to unfold. Eliab stood alone near the edge of the camp, his eyes fixed on the distant horizon. His heart was restless, for the words spoken to him in the previous days echoed constantly in his soul. He knew that a promise from God was never given without a season of testing. The people rested, unaware of the spiritual weight that pressed upon Eliab's spirit. He felt the presence of the Lord, not as a gentle whisper this time, but as a refining fire, calling him to deeper obedience. Eliab knelt on the cold ground and prayed, his voice barely audible, yet sincere and strong. He asked not for comfort, but for faith. Not for safety, but for courage. As the night grew darker, memories of his journey returned to him. He remembered the days of tending sheep, the loneliness of the fields, and the first moment when God had spoken his name. Each step had prepared him for this hour. Yet now, standing at the threshold of something greater, Eliab felt the weight of fear trying to take root in his heart. Suddenly, a messenger arrived from the elders of the camp. His face was pale, his breath hurried. He spoke of unrest among the people, of doubts and murmurs spreading like shadows. Some questioned the path they were on. Others feared the enemies that surrounded them. Eliab listened in silence, understanding that leadership was not only about vision, but about standing firm when others wavered. He rose and walked through the camp, lighting torches along the way. The people gathered, drawn by his calm authority. Eliab spoke not with loud words, but with truth. He reminded them of the God who had delivered their fathers, who had opened seas and brought water from rocks. He spoke of faith as a choice, not a feeling, and of obedience as the foundation of blessing. The murmurs slowly faded. The people listened, and many were strengthened. Yet Eliab knew that the greatest battle was not outside, but within. After the gathering dispersed, he returned to his place and lifted his eyes to the heavens once more. That night, God tested Eliab's heart. In a vision, he was shown two paths. One was wide and easy, filled with praise and immediate reward. The other was narrow, steep, and marked by sacrifice, but it shone with eternal purpose. Eliab did not hesitate. He chose the narrow path, even before understanding its full cost. When morning came, the sun rose with unusual brightness. Eliab awoke with peace in his spirit. Though he did not know what trials awaited him, he knew whom he trusted. The Lord had not removed the challenges, but he had strengthened his servant. The elders approached Eliab at dawn, seeking guidance. With humility, he accepted the responsibility placed upon him. He understood that God was shaping him not only for himself, but for generations to come. His name would not be remembered for comfort, but for faithfulness. As the camp prepared to move forward, Eliab took one last look at the place where he had prayed through the night. He knew that this chapter of his journey marked a turning point. The boy who once watched sheep had become a man, refined by trials and anchored in faith. And so, Eliab walked ahead of the people, not because he was fearless, but because he trusted God more than his fears. The promise was still unfolding, and the road ahead was uncertain. Yet one truth burned clearly in his heart. The Lord who calls is faithful, and he never abandons those who walk in obedience. Thus ended the 7th chapter of Eliab's journey, a chapter written not only with words, but with faith tested in the silence of the night.